So in the next few slides, we will discuss abnormal RBC and WBC morphology under microscope. O yung tinatawag nating anomalies, no? Meron akong prepare na separate file, no? Containing the RBC anomalies and WBC anomalies. Just in case malabo, no? Pag na-print nyo tong handout na to. And pinili ko lang yung certain terminologies na you should master, no? Hindi naman lahat ng nasa listahan ay kailangan natin malaman by heart, no? Although kailangan before boards, no? Pero for now, no, baka ma-overwhelm kayo, kaya pinili ko lang yung i-discuss ko for this particular section of our lecture. So let's now start with RBC abnormalities. Unahin natin itong term na to, anisocytosis, or simply the abnormal variation in RBC size or volume or diameter, no? This is commonly seen in this disorders, no? Hemolytic anemia, megaloblastic, and even iron deficiency anemia. And ano ang test or parameter na pwede natin gamitin to identify the presence of anisocytosis? It is the RDW, or the red cell distribution width. Okay? So, pwede mo to ring gamitin to differentiate, no, your IDA from thalassemia. Kasi halos parehas sila ng laboratory picture, no? And may mga ilang test tayo na pwedeng gamitin to simply differentiate them, no, from one another. Ano ang ine-expect nating results ng RDW in IDA? It should be increased. Ibig sabihin, sobrang iba-iba yung sizes. Sobrang magkakalayo yung kanilang volume or diameter to one another, yung mga RBCs. While in thalassemia, no, although pareho silang mga maliliit na cells, halos pantay-pantay yung kanilang size. Kaya, it usually result to a normal RDW. Okay? Next term, oval macrocyte. Okay? Or simply means, macro means large, no? Oval, as usual, wala namang ibang meaning yan, no? And this is commonly seen in megaloblastic anemia, no? In as a recall, megaloblastic anemia, ano ang main problem niyan? There is a defect in nucleus of the RBC during its maturation and differentiation. Okay? So, yung pinaka problema niya ay nasa nucleus, no? Yung ano nasa loob ng nucleus, yung DNA. Okay? And aside sa oval macrocytes, makakakita ka rin ng iba pang mga abnormalities in peripheral blood smear. So, meron tayong hypersegmented neutrophils. No, ilan ba ang normal segmentation ng neutrophil? 2 to 5 lang. In megaloblastic anemia, more than 5 ang kanyang segments, no? Yung nucleus ng neutrophil. And aside from that, no, oval macrocytes and Howell-Jolly bodies, pag-uusapan natin yan later, no? And ang ginagamit kong mnemonics para sa megaloblastic anemia, ho-ho. So, ano yung ho-ho na yan? Yung unang age ay hypersegmented neutrophil. Ang sunod, yung O, oval macrocytes. And yung HO, Howell-Jolly bodies. Okay, kaya meron tayong ho-ho mnemonics for megaloblastic anemia. Ang next term naman natin ay microcyte, meaning small RBC. Ano nga ulit ang normal size ng RBC? 6 to 8 micrometer. So, ang ating microcyte should have less than 6 micrometer in diameter. And aside sa size, no, hindi naman natin yan masusukat under microscope. So, pwede mo naman i-check yung itong RBC index na to, MCV, or the mean corpuscular volume. Ang mean corpuscular volume, reference range niyan ay 80 to 100. No? Kaya, ang microsite would have less than or below that. No? So, dapat less than 80 femtoliters. Babalikan natin yung iba pang RBC index in a while. Microsite naman, ma-observe yan in this following conditions. No? Meron tayong mnemonics na ATIS. No? A for anemia of chronic inflammation. T for thalassemia. I, iron deficiency anemia. And S, sideroblastic anemia. Again, nabanggit ko lagi, no, halos same picture si thalassemia and IDA. And meron tayong certain test to differentiate them. And you must know them by heart. Nabanggit ko kanina, isa sa mga yon ay RDW. RDW is increased in iron deficiency anemia. Low naman pagdating kay thalassemia. Next term tayo, poikilocytosis. Poikilocytosis meaning RBCs having various shapes. No, wag tayo magpapalito. Ang anisocytosis, various RBC size. Poikilocytosis, various RBC shape. No? Ano ba ang normal shape ng RBC natin? Biconcave. Pag hindi biconcave, you can now consider that as a poikilocyte. Next term, spherocyte. No? Ano ang meron sa spherocyte? Ang RBCs natin, small, round, and dense. And most importantly, walang central pallor. And makikita natin ang spherocytes, obviously, in hereditary spherocytosis and anemia depicting or presenting as extravascular hemolysis. Ano ang meron sa intravascular naman? Ang intravascular ay schistocyte. Mamaya didiscuss natin yan. Huwag tayong magpapalito. Spherocyte ay makikita sa extravascular hemolysis. Another note, balikan ko lang si hereditary spherocytosis. Ano ang defect niyan? Ang defect niyan ay nasa vertical anchorage proteins, no? And itong mga proteins na to, it anchors, no, your integral and peripheral membrane proteins. And ano ang problema nito, no? Bakit sila walang central pallor, no? Because they have a decreased or smaller size, no? Kaya decreased surface area, and yung volume niya medyo marami. So, compact na compact. Kaya ang term natin sa mga spherocytes, they have decreased surface area to volume ratio. Ano ang picture, PBS picture ng spherocytes sa under microscope? They have normocytic, normal ang size ng mga RBC, pero hyperchromic, no? Meaning, wala silang central pallor. E yung hyperchromicity, no, ay mache-check natin yan by what or from what RBC index. Check natin yung MCHC. Dadaan natin yan later on. Pero yung MCHC natin, ano ang normal value? 32 to 36%. No? More than 36, hyperchromic ang ating mga RBCs. Next term natin ay elliptocyte. No? Elliptocyte or ovalocyte. Elliptical in shape or cigar shape or pencil shape. No? Yung mga RBCs natin. And obviously, makikita yan in hereditary elliptocytosis. Ovalocytes naman, no? oval or egg shape, no? Makikita sa hereditary ovalocytosis. Huwag tayong magpapalito, no? Meron tayong oval macrocytes specifically found in your megaloblastic anemia. Pag wala ko sinabing oval macrocyte and simply ovalocyte lang, pag-iisipan na natin yan as hereditary ovalocytosis, no? Balikan lang natin ano nga ulit ang mga defects, no? Genetic defect behind elliptocytosis and ovalocytosis. Ang elliptocytosis, meron siyang defect on horizontal anchorage proteins. Remind ko lang sa inyo, no? Ano ang kabaliktaran niya? Yung hereditary spherocytosis. Ang defect naman nun ay yung vertical anchorage proteins. Ang elliptocytosis, ang defect ay nasa horizontal, no? Thus, losing its mechanical stability, no? Nagsistretch out yung RBC, making it more elliptical in shape or pencil shape. Next naman, balikan natin si ovalocytosis, also known as Southeast Asian ovalocytosis or SAO, kasi nga primarily nakita siya in Southeast Asian countries. The main defect niyan ay nasa band 3 protein, no, or TP band 3, causing increased membrane rigidity. Okay? Paalala ko lang ulit, no, that ovalocytosis renders your RBC resistant against malaria. Next term, sickle cell. No? Sickle cell has elongated RBC with pointed ends. No? It may be curved or straight. No? Para siyang sickle ng ng mga ginagamit sa palayan, 'di ba? Or banana shape yung mga yan. So makikita yan obviously in sickle cell anemia. Ano ang mga other names ng sickle cell? Balikan nga natin, drepanocyte, meniscocyte, or oat cells, no? Kapag oat cells, medyo yung isang end ay less pointy, no? Doon natin ito term as oat cells. And recall nga natin, ano ang meron kay sickle cell anemia? Ang problem dyan, that amino acid called valine substitutes the glutamic acid at the 6th amino acid of the beta-globin chain. So, wag natin kakalimutan itong mga important na highlight ko, no? Valine substitutes glutamic acid at the 6th amino acid of the beta-globin chain. Yan ang problema behind sickle cell anemia, no? HBC naman, sa HBC, meron tayong crystallization na nagka-create ng parang piatos-like crystals or hexagonal crystals, no? Katulad siya ni sickle cell, no? Ang problema lang din dyan ay substitution of your amino acid. So, ano ang difference naman nila? Dito naman sa hemoglobin C, lysine substitutes glutamic acid at the 6th amino acid of the beta-globin chain din. No? Huwag natin kakalimutan, valine, etong sickle cell, lysine sa hemoglobin C. Next naman natin, target cell or podocyte, no? Bakit siya tinawag na target cell? Because there is a concentrated hemoglobin at the central part of the central pallor. No, mamaya makikita niyo yung picture niyan, no? And most commonly seen yan sa mga hemoglobinopathies. May problema sa hemoglobin, thus yung kanyang creation of the concentrated hemoglobin molecule and thalassemia. Kung maalala nyo yung thalassemia, ang problema niyan nasa globin chains. Okay? Next, schistocyte o schizocyte, no? These are fragmented RBC, nadurog na mga RBC materials. This is due to mainly intravascular hemolysis, nasa loob ng blood vessel. So paalala ko lang sa inyo, ano ang anomaly seen in extravascular hemolysis. This is spherocytes. Ang intravascular hemolysis naman, schistocyte. Okay? Ano ang mga example ng mga disorder or anemia causing intravascular hemolysis? Kung maalala nyo lang, no? Example niyan ay mga microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Anong example ng microangiopathic hemolytic anemia? Ito yung TTP and HUS. Kung maalala nyo rin, ano ang TTP? Thrombocytopenic purpura. HUS is hemolytic uremic syndrome. Babalikan natin yan in a while. Another example of intravascular hemolytic anemia is microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Macro means big blood vessels. And example niyan ng mga blood vessels ay nasa heart. So example ng condition or situation na magkakaroon ng macroangiopathic hemolytic anemia ay mga pasyenteng may prosthetic valves. Okay? Next tayo, no? Nandito na tayo sa inclusions. Kanina na-discuss ko yung mga abnormal shapes, no? Ngayon naman, mga inclusions or nasa ano ang mga problema sa loob ng cell, no? Or mga anong tawag dito, abnormal internal RBC picture. Okay? Unahin natin basophilic stippling. Basophilic stippling is also known as punctate basophilia. Ano ang normal color ng ating mature RBC? Dapat pink, no? In basophilic stippling, na nagkakaroon ng mga dark blue or purple granules across cytoplasm, dapat wala yan. Dapat pink na pink yan. Tama? No? Ano ang nagkakos nitong dark blue to purple granules? This is caused by a precipitation of your RNA. No? Ano nagkakos ng RNA precipitation? No? Ito yung mga, pag na-expose ka to lead, okay? May problema ka sa hemoglobin such as in thalassemia and hemoglobinopathies. Okay? Next naman, HbH, hemoglobin H, no? It also has blue granules pero it forms like a golf ball appearance, no? And ang problem natin dito, no, there is a precipitation of your beta globin chain, no? Kung maalala nyo, ano ba ang ating pathophysiology behind hemoglobin H disease? Hemoglobin H disease has no alpha globin chain. O tinatawag natin, meron siyang 3-alpha globin chain deletion. No? And makikita or ang confirmatory test natin dyan to finally diagnose a patient to have an HbH disease is for them to undergo hemoglobin electrophoresis. No? And ang HbH, mas ma-appreciate mo yan by using alkaline electrophoresis kasi siya ang fastest type of hemoglobin in alkaline electrophoresis. And kung maalala nyo, ang alkaline electrophoresis has a pH of 8.6. Okay, magic number, 8.6 in alkaline electrophoresis. Okay, next naman tayo, Howell-Jolly bodies. Narinig natin yan kanina, no? Ano ang meron sa Howell-Jolly bodies? This contains fragmented DNA or fragmented nuclear materials, no? And sabi ko nga, saan to madalas makita? Sa megaloblastic anemia. Okay? May mga problema sa nucleus, no? Next, Heinz bodies naman. Ang Heinz bodies, meron siyang denatured hemoglobin, no? And nangyayari yan kapag na-expose ang RBC nyo to oxidants. And yung mga protectant natin sa oxidation, no? Isa dyan ay ating glutathione, no? And ang glutathione na nagagawa or naproproduce yan by what pathway? Your hexose monophosphate shunt or pentose phosphate pathway. Ano ang important enzyme ng ating hexose monophosphate shunt? This is your G6PD. Kaya kung walang G6PD, madaling masira yan ng mga oxidants, yung ating RBC or yung ating hemoglobin, no? And yung destruction or denaturation of your hemoglobin will cause Heinz bodies. Next term natin ay ang Pappenheimer bodies. Pappenheimer bodies is an accumulation of your iron. Kaya anything that has to do with iron, physiology, iron kinetics, may problema ka sa iron kinetics, magkakaroon ka ng Pappenheimer bodies. Ano ang mga may problem sa iron utilization? Sideroblastic anemia and also your thalassemia, no? And may iba lang ako, meron tayong other name for Pappenheimer bodies. Baka lang mabasa nyo in some of the questionnaires, no? This is also known as sideroblastic granules. Kaya, no? Nakakonect yan with sideroblastic anemia. And Pappenheimer bodies is best stained with Prussian blue staining technique, which is the gold standard for the identification of iron accumulation within RBCs. No? Next, Cabot rings. Lumitaw to sa boards ko, kaya wag niyo rin itong kakalimutan. No? These are remnants or mga naiwan na mga fragments of mitosis such as your mitotic spindles, no? 'Di ba? May stage tayo na matatapos yung mitosis, okay? And if ever hindi nawala yung mga kanyang mga remnants or yung kanyang mga kalat, no? Nagkakaroon to ng mga inclusion bodies such as your Cabot ring bodies, no? And Cabot ring, no, is characterized by having rings or figure of 8 inclusions, no? Ang nasa questionnaire ko noon, no, this is an anomaly characterized by having a figure of 8, no, or infinity sign. Ano ba yung infinity sign? Pag ganyan yan, no? So, ano ang mga conditions na nakakakita tayo ng Cabot rings? Ito yung mga conditions na yung mga RBC mo ay nasa loob pa ng inyong bone marrow for differentiation and maturation, no? So, it is a nuclear or developmental problem. Kaya makikita mo sila in megaloblastic anemia and myelodysplastic syndromes. Okay, next na tayo sa ating mga WBC anomalies, no, white blood cell. So check natin yung ating PDF file for that. Unahin natin ang foam cell or PIC cell, no. It has lipid droplets within the cytoplasm. And makikita natin ang foam cell sa Niemann-Pick disease. As a recall, no, Niemann-Pick disease has deficiency of this enzyme, sphingomyelinase. And nag-accumulate ngayon yung protein called sphingomyelin. So, wag tayong magpapalito in foam cell or in Niemann-Pick disease, no? Ang deficient ay yung enzyme, ang accumulation ay ang protein. Okay, enzyme ends in ASE. So, huwag tayo magpapalito dyan. Gaucher cell naman, no? It is characterized by having a cytoplasm that is crumpled or wrinkled paper appearance. No? Makikita yan in Gaucher's disease. Deficiency, again, enzyme, beta-glucocerebrosidase. And ang ating accumulation, it's a proteoglycan called glucocerebroside. No? So, itong mga to, enzyme deficiencies yung mga yan. No? Kaya kailangan, ang answer natin kapag tinatanong ay deficient, ASE ang ending ng answer natin. Another important recall, no? Gaucher's disease is the most common WBC lipid storage disease. No? Kung yan ang kung ang tanong ay yung ano ang most common WBC enzyme deficiency or lipid storage disease, Gaucher's disease ang sagot. Okay? Next problem, WBC anomaly is your Pelger-Huet cells. No? Ano ang meron dito? It has hyposegmentation. Less than 2, no? Ano ang normal segmentation ng neutrophil? 2 to 5, right? So 0 to 2 nuclear lobes lang ang meron sa neutrophils, no, ng Pelger-Huet cells. Kaya pag pinag-uusapan natin itong anomaly na to, Pelger-Huet, ang titingnan natin sa PBS ay ang neutrophils. Ano ang appearance ng ating nuclear lobes dahil dadalawa or less than 2, no? Pin's nest appearance or spectacle. Para siyang yung sa salamin, no? 'Di ba? Meron tayong mga salamin na ganito ang appearance. Yan. So, dalawang lobe. Okay? Next abnormality are your Downey cells, no? This is actually a subtype of an atypical lymphocyte. Ano bang atypical lymphocyte? These are lymphocytes that are activated, gising, no? In cases of, ano ulit ang role ng lymphocytes natin sa mga viral infection, such as these viruses. Iiwan ko na to in your virology, ha? EBV and CMV infection may signify or may present with Downey cells. Another abnormality, toxic granulations. Ano ang titingnan natin sa PBS? Yung ating mga neutrophils. Neutrophils would have dark blue granules, no, instead of pink to violet in color. No, makikita natin yan during lead poisoning. So, tatandaan natin, in WBCs, no, ang makikita mo during lead poisoning ay toxic granulations. In RBCs naman, basophilic stipplings. Okay? Next, no, Dole bodies. Dole bodies is described as rows of ribosomal remnants, no? Mga ribosomes na naiwan, no? And hindi na clear during the maturation of your neutrophil. And makikita natin yan sa May-Heglin anomaly. In May-Heglin anomaly, ano ang defect niyan? There's a defect in the myosin heavy chains that would clear out sana itong mga ribosomal remnants. Okay, next topic natin ay ang hemocytometry, no? Unahin natin pag-usapan yung ating most commonly used counting chamber for blood cells. It is the improved Neubauer counting chamber. So, ano yung mga features ng ating improved Neubauer counting chamber? Meron itong 2 sections, di ba? Meron tayong dalawang finifill in na field. Area has a size of 9 squared millimeter. has a depth of 0.1 millimeter, and ilan ang squares? This has 9 main squares, no? 1, 2, yan, tatlo, 3 by 3, 9. So, pag-usapan naman natin yung technique, no, ng RBC count and WBC count. Unahin ko lang yung RBC count. So, what is the characteristic of the diluting fluid used for the RBC count in hemocytometry? They should have isotonic properties, because isotonic property would preserve the shape of the RBCs, no? Hindi masisira, hindi mag-shrink, no? Example of isotonic diluting fluid is the most commonly used, your normal saline solution. This is the most commonly used kasi readily available. But the most preferred, the most recommended, the best, no, is your DASIS fluid or formol citrate fluid. What is the dilution factor used for RBC count? Dahil masyadong marami RBCs natin, dapat mas mataas na dilution factor. 1:100. And ang pipette natin, no, for both RBC and WBC, we use Toma pipette. Specifically, RBC Toma pipette, which has red bead in its bulb, no, and has a 101 mark dun sa pinaka-dulo. How about counting? Paano natin binibilang RBCs natin? Pupunta tayo sa central large square, no? And bibilangin natin yung 5 small squares inside that central large square. Moving to WBC count method. Ano ang description ng ating diluting fluid? It should have a hypotonic property. Bakit hypotonic? It would destroy all cells except sa mga cells na may nucleus, no? These are, syempre, ano ang merong nucleus sa ating peripheral bloodstream? Yung WBCs natin, and also, no, yung other nucleated RBCs or yung young RBCs natin. Another property of this diluting fluid is that it can also stain your WBC nucleus for easier counting. No, mas madali mo silang makita under microscope. Now, example of this WBC diluting fluid, the most commonly used is acetic acid, no? Kasi madali siyang hanapin, madali siyang bilhin. Pero the best, most preferred, most recommended WBC diluting fluid is Turk solution. So, wag tayo makakalimot, no, sa ating mga terminologies. What is the most common? What is the best? No? What is the most recommended? So, wag tayo magpapalito sa mga yon. Pagdating naman sa dilution factor, dahil mas konti ang WBCs natin in terms of reference range, gagamit tayo ng mas mababang dilution factor, which is 1:20. Ang WBC Toma pipette natin has white bead, and ano ang nasa dulong mark niya? 11 mark. So, wag tayong magpapalito dyan. 101 mark sa RBC Toma pipette, 11 sa WBC Toma pipette. How about counting? Anong part ng Neubauer ang gagamitin natin? 4 corner large squares during WBC count. Okay, again, no? The differences between the Toma pipettes for RBC and WBC count. No, halimbawa, ito, red bead, and then 101 mark. This is red Toma pipette, no? Or RBC Toma pipette, I mean. If ever yung bead niya ay white, okay, and yung markings niya sa dulo ay 11, WBC Toma pipette yan. So, how about the computation? Unahin ko muna yung RBC. Dilution factor, again, no, 200. Your area correction factor is 5, since 5 small squares in the central large square tayo. Depth factor, no, or depth correction factor is 10. So, normally, the shortcut, kapag wala kang binago dito sa tatlong components na to, ang shortcut natin is multiply the number of cells by 10,000. No? Pero ang long cut natin, no, ito ang long cut natin, number of cells counted, usually we average, no, the two sides, no, side A and side B, average nun, times the dilution factor times the ACF or area correction factor multiplied by lastly your depth factor, no? If wala kang binago sa mga constants natin, pwede mo na lang siya i-shortcut to multiplying by 10,000. How about WBC count? Your dilution factor is 20, no? Area correction factor is 1/4 or 0.25. Again, no, yung apat nating large squares, no? And then DCF, depth correction factor is 10. And if ever wala kang binago dyan, no, hindi ka nag-adjust, the shortcut is to multiply the average number of cells of two sides by 50. Okay? So, try natin itong problem na to. Halimbawa, you are computing for RBCs, no? Sulat lang natin. RBC. So, nagbaylan ka sa side 1 and side 2. Side 1 has 192 RBC. Side 2 ay 177. Depth correction factor is 10. Dilution factor is 200. ACF is 5. No, paano mo natin yung kukomputin? Gamit tayo, halimbawa, ng long cut. No? Mag-long cut muna tayo. So, unang step is to compute for the average of two sides. No? 192 plus 177, 369. Divided by 2, 184.5, no? Long cut tayo, multiply natin lahat. 184.5 times 10 times 200, which is your dilution factor, 5 your area correction factor. So, ito ang result natin is usually in traditional unit. How about the units, no? We use cubic millimeter. If ever tinatanong natin ay SI unit, no? I-multiply natin yan to times 10 raised to 6 power. Okay? Move tayo ng 6 decimal point. Okay, move natin decimal point ng 6. So 1.85 up to 2 decimal point times 10 raised to the 12 power. Bakit 12 power? No, kasi nga minultiply natin by 10 raised to the 6 power. Okay? Next naman, gawin natin ng shortcut method, no? For RBC ulit. Side 1 has 132, side 2 is 142. So, kuhain muna natin yung average. Okay, 132 plus 142, 274. 274 divided by 2, 137. Shortcut tayo times 10,000. And usually, yung unang answer mo ay traditional unit, kaya per cubic millimeter. Gawin natin SI unit, move tayo yung 6 decimal points, no? 1.37 times 10 raised to 12 per liter of blood. So, dala tayo ng calculators just in case, no? Baka may ganitong computation pagdating sa final examination. Okay, next naman tayo, WBC differential counts, no? We have two presentation of counts of WBC. Meron tayong tinatawag na relative WBC count and absolute WBC count. Ano ang difference between these two terminologies? In relative WBC count, it is often expressed as in percent. Katulad nung kanina na-discuss ko na reference range, halimbawa lang, no, basophil ay nasa 0 to 3%, that is relative WBC count. How about absolute WBC count? This is a more accurate presentation of your results, and it is often expressed in SI unit, no, times 10 raised to the 9th power per liter of blood. So, paano na naman natin to i-compute kung lagi ang result natin sa laboratory ay in percent? We can compute that by getting the relative WBC count multiplied by the total WBC, no? So, paano natin yung gagawin? Punta muna tayo sa ating example. So, ang example natin, halimbawa, the relative neutrophil count is 50. And then, check mo yung total naman. Total WBC count is 5. So, mumultiply daw natin, correct? So, 0.5, no? Gagawin natin whole number ito. Importante to make this as a whole number, no? Multiply by 5. Okay, ito, 5. So, your answer should be 2.5, no? Times 10 raised to the 9th power per liter, no? In SI unit. Okay, balikan ko lang, no? Etong slide na to. We have a term called shift to the left, no? Ano ibig sabihin ng shift to the left? Na PBS picture of your WBC counts. Shift to the left means there is an increased presence of immature granulocytic cells, no? Masyadong maraming young WBC cells na present sa PBS. An example of condition that has or that presents with shift to the left PBS picture is leukemia or bacterial infection if ever young neutrophilic cells ang present. Okay, punta tayo sa reference range ng ating RBCs. RBCs muna tayo, no? RBC reference range, no? It differs from male to female, no? Male, mas maraming RBC. Kahit i-memorize nyo lang yung just the average, no? 4 to 6. Pag female, 4 to 5, no? Pag masyadong malayo na dyan, no? Usually, I present it hindi naman masyadong malapit, no? Kaya 1, 0.5. Usually, anemia na yan, no? How about WBCs naman, no? Almost the same ang males and females, no? The average between 3.6 to 10, no? And then SI unit, wag kakalimutan, no? 10 raised to 9 power kapag WBC, ang RBC natin 10 raised to 12 power. Okay? Okay, next naman natin pag-uusapan, no, ay analysis of hemoglobin. So, the earliest method for the hemoglobin determination is Cyan-Met hemoglobin method, no? And actually, this method can detect all forms of hemoglobin na pag-usapan natin yung mga dyshemoglobins natin kanina, right? Pero, with exception, okay? Pakilagyan ng star. The only form of hemoglobin that cannot be detected using your Cyan-Met hemoglobin is sulfhemoglobin, no? And this type of method pala, no, is utilizes, no, a spectrophotometric principle. And the wavelength used for this hemoglobin determination is 540 nanometer. Pakilagyan ulit ng star, no? Itong dalawang term, no? Or itong dalawang salient points, madalas tinatanong sa boards. The only form of hemoglobin that cannot be detected by cyanmet hemoglobin is sulfhemoglobin, and this method is a spectrophotometric method. It uses a wavelength at 540 nanometer. Okay? What is the main reagent for cyanmet hemoglobin? Bakit siya tinawag na oldest, no? And obsolete na rin, no? Ang main ingredients, no, ng Drabkin's reagent contains potassium ferricyanide and potassium cyanide. And from these two chemicals that contain cyanide, which is a danger not only to the personnel handling this reagent, no, but also to the environment. So, ano ang principle behind this test, no? Una, halimbawa, ito, no, meron tayong hemoglobin which has a ferrous state, no, na iron. Combine it with potassium ferricyanide. So, it will oxidize this iron na nasa loob ng hemoglobin, converting it to methemoglobin ngayon. Combine mo ngayon or idagdag mo ngayon yung potassium cyanide naman, no? Thus creating a cyan-met hemoglobin. So, ito yung sequence. Hemoglobin muna, dagdagan mo ng potassium ferricyanide, magiging methemoglobin, dagdagan mo ng potassium cyanide, no? Magiging ang end product niya ay cyan-met hemoglobin. Okay? Next type of test, and these are now the confirmatory test, no, for the analysis of abnormal hemoglobins. Unahin natin, no, ang type of electrophoresis called alkaline electrophoresis, which uses the pH of 8.6, no. And in this type of method, mapaghihiwalay mo ngayon yung mga abnormal hemoglobins, no. So, ito ang itsura in a normal patient, no. In your cathode, may iwan si minor hemoglobin or hemoglobin A2, no. And malapit sa anode, no, ang ating major hemoglobin, no, or hemoglobin A1. And nasa middle lang si fetal hemoglobin. Kung meron kayong abnormal patient, ang malapit sa cathode or pinakamabagal ay ang etong mga hemoglobins na to, CEO. Ang next na mabagal ay SDG. Okay? And then, ito na yung mga mabibilis. Okay? Tandaan natin, na-discuss ko kanina, no? Among the fastest hemoglobin in alkaline electrophoresis is HBH. Again, ano ang meron sa HBH? 3-alpha globin chain deletion. Okay? Okay. Next naman tayo, no? Electrophoresis which uses citrate agar, no? Citrate agar electrophoresis. And in other books, ang tawag diyan ay acidic electrophoresis because it has a pH of 6.2, no? So, in a normal patient, ang pinakamabagal in this citrate agar electrophoresis is the fetal hemoglobin, and halos magkasabay yung mga adult hemoglobins natin, the major and minor adult hemoglobin. In abnormal naman patients, no, pinakamabagal ay ang DGE, no, and then pupunta na si S, O, C, and C ang pinakamabilis papunta sa cathode. Mnemonics namin dito, no, pasok. Okay? From pinakamabagal to pinakamabilis, F, your hemoglobin A's, no, A1 and A2, S, O, C. Okay, reference range naman ng ating hemoglobin, it will differ from male to female, no? Male natin laging diyan mas mataas ang value. Okay, 13.5 to 18.5, female is 12 to 15. Huwag kakalimutan ang ranges, no? And ang ating units, SI unit is grams per liter. Ang ating traditional unit, grams per deciliter. Okay? So, mas malaki ang number ng traditional than your SI unit. Okay, microhematocrit tube method for determination of your hematocrit. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na microhematocrit method kasi it uses lesser amount of blood, no? Micro, no? It also it can be done faster, no? Lesser time, no? And mas maganda tong determination because it presents with a better packing of cells. Mas mabilis, no? Yung ating paghihiwalay ng plasma from the red cells. The other name for microhematocrit tube method is Adams method. And another important to take note, no, is it uses capillary tubes, no? Ano ulit ang length, size ng ating mga capillary tube, either red or blue. Ang kanyang size ay 7. Kanina wala akong binigay na range, I think, no? Pero in some books or in some manufacturers, it ranges in these sizes. 7 to 7.5 cm or 70 to 75 millimeter. Magic number is 7, okay? And sabi nga natin, mas mabilis itong method na to because you can only centrifuge your specimen for only 5 minutes, no? At RCF of 10,000 to 15,000 times gravity. Ang next natin ay RBC indices. We have 3. Okay? Meron tayong MCV, MCHC, MCH, and MCHC. So, what does each acronym stands for? MCV stands for mean corpuscular volume, MCH, mean corpuscular hemoglobin, MCHC, dagdagan lang natin, mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration. No? So, anong meaning ng bawat RBC index natin? MCV measures the average RBC volume or the size in femtoliters. Ito yung unit niya, no? What is the formula for MCV? You need to get the hematocrit, no, over your RBC count, multiply by 10. Again, no, MCV, hematocrit over RBC count times 10, no? MCH naman, this is the RBC average hemoglobin mass in pictogram or PG. Dito naman, kukunin mo hemoglobin over RBC times 10. Papalitan mo lang yung hematocrit ng hemoglobin. Okay? MCHC naman, no? Average relative hemoglobin per RBC, no? Express this in percentage or in grams per deciliter. Okay? So, MCHC, no, is computed by getting your hemoglobin over hematocrit times 100. So, ito lang ang kakaiba. Lagyan natin ng star. So, baka malito kayo, ano ba yung aking uunahin or ano ang aking denominator, no? Hemoglobin ba o hematocrit? So, lagi ko pala tandaan, Si hemoglobin, yung B ay mauuna kaysa kay C. Okay? So, sa taas si hemoglobin, sa baba si hematocrit. Times 100. Okay? Ito lang din ang kakaiba na kumbaga factor na i-multiply dun sa formula ninyo. So, don't forget your calculator during the final examination. Huwag din natin kakalimutan ang mga reference range ng ating mga RBC indices, no? MCV, reference range is 80 to 100 femtoliters. MCH, 26 to 32 picograms. MCHC, 32 to 36 grams per deciliter. So, important na malala natin itong mga reference range in order to properly interpret them, no? If increase ang ating MCV, ano nga ulit yung ating normal value? 80 to 100 femtoliter, right? So, increase MCV means more than 100 macrocytic. So, ibig sabihin, baka ang patient mo ay may megaloblastic anemia. Decrease naman ay, ang meaning niyan ay baka merong microcytic type of anemia. Ano ulit ang ating mnemonics sa mga microcytes? ATIS, no? ATIS. A stands for anemia of chronic inflammation, T, thalassemia, IDA, S, sideroblastic anemia. Dito naman tayo sa MCH, ang ating normal value ay 26 to 32 picograms, no? Usually hindi to masyadong tinitingnan during the initial diagnosis of anemia, pero nice to know lang, halos same lang sila ng interpretation ni MCV. Okay? Kapag increase, baka megaloblastic anemia. Kapag decrease MCH, baka meron siyang nitong mga apat na conditions na to. In MCHC naman, no, ang ating reference range is 32 to 36 grams per deciliter, no? Ang ating interpretation kapag increase MCHC, hyperchromic, and madalas yan makita in spherocytes. Okay? Ano ulit ang spherocytes? It has decreased surface area to volume ratio, increased MCHC. Huwag kakalimutan yon, no? In hypochromic RBCs, again, ATIS ang iisipin natin na baka initial or diagnosis ng patient.